My name is Adele William Sewell. I was born in Guyana and I attended the Bishop's High School. My family immigrated to the UK in 1978 when I was 15 years old. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in January 1999 and I was 35 and a half years old. It was an early stage diagnosis, probably stage 1. I found a lump in my breast. I remember standing up in front of the mirror in the bathroom. I think I might have just had a shower or something, and I thought, oh, that breast looks a little bit fuller than normal. I wasn't aware of any family history. I wasn't a smoker, I wasn't a drinker, and it just didn't seem that there was any reason why I should have cancer. You know, I wasn't panicked or anything like that when I found it. I just knew I'd found a lump, and my sister is a doctor, so I went to see, I think I found the lump in October 1998, and I was going to visit her in America in November for Thanksgiving. So when I was there, I said to her, I've got this lump in my breast, could you examine me? And she did, and she told me that as soon as I went back to the UK, I should have an appointment to see my doctor. I still dragged my feet a little bit because I wasn't aware of cancer in my family. But eventually, before Christmas, in December of 1998, I went to my GP and she did an examination and she said to me, oh, I don't think this is too serious, but because it's been there for more than a month, I'm going to recommend that you have some further screening. She sent me for a mammogram and in the January, and the mammogram actually didn't show anything. And they said that that was because I was a younger person and my breasts were quite dense. So I then had an ultrasound of my breast, and it was then that they confirmed that it was breast cancer. I remember being quite shocked. At the time, I thought the diagnosis of cancer probably meant death. And, you know, I remember panicking at the time. My daughter was only 4 years old. My husband's father had died a few years earlier of lung cancer. So that had really been my only close family experience of cancer, and unfortunately it had led to someone dying. So I was quite scared, but I had surgery and the surgery was successful. I remember they said that they got a clear margin, which meant that they'd been able to remove all of the cancer. In fact, when they did do the surgery, they found that I had 2 small lumps in the same breast. But they were close together, and that's why they were able to do a lumpectomy. I didn't just have surgery, I also had radiotherapy after the surgery, and that was for 6 weeks. I had radiotherapy and I needed to go to the hospital 3 times a week. The radiotherapy was fairly quickly, within half an hour it would be over, and I was very lucky. I didn't have any side effects from that at all. I think the right breast, which is where I had the surgery, became a little bit darker, like if you've been in the sun, but that soon faded, you know, with time that faded and just went back to normal. I had to have a mammogram every year for the following 5 years. And I was also asked to take a drug called tamoxifen, which suppresses your estrogen. When they did the surgery, they did tests on the tissue, and they found that the cancer was estrogen positive, which means that it feeds on estrogen. So that's why they give you the tablet tamoxifen to take, which suppresses the estrogen in your body. And at the time, they said that 70% of people in my situation would be fine afterwards. So I thought, well, I'm a lucky person. They've given me clear margin. I will just carry on with my life. And that's what I did for many, many years. Family support was extremely important. This was 1999, so we didn't have things like WhatsApp and so on. Overseas calls were still very expensive. But I remember that my sister Yvette, who is the doctor, she called me every single week while I was having treatment. And in fact, she flew down to the UK. So she was there on the day that I had surgery, and there with my husband and my daughter to bring me home from the hospital. And it really, really meant a lot to me. Always be hopeful, to try not to think the worst, try not to allow your mind and your brain to be full of fear, to take each day at a time, and to remember that The statistics for survival from breast cancer are very, very good, provided you take the treatment that is recommended by your doctors. I really do recommend that if your doctors recommend radiotherapy, don't be afraid, take the radiotherapy. For most people, it's painless. And if they recommend taking drugs like tamoxifen afterwards, take those tablets for the period of time that they recommend. If they recommend that you have chemotherapy, take the chemotherapy. If you lose your hair will grow back. Very often the hair grows back thicker and healthier than before, because the hair is starting again like if you were a baby. So it's a full, fresh head of hair. You know, we women, we like to process our hair, we like to blow dry it, we color it and so on. Whereas when you lose all the hair and it grows back, you're getting that fresh, healthy head of hair again. So it can actually be a brand new start for you.